make sure to manage your physical symptoms of stress while they are happening. I want you to walk away from an event with connections that lead to sales or promotions or new jobs or friends. Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. I remember a time that I went to a large networking event. It was a conference, a day-long event. And as soon as I walked in the door, I remember this visceral feeling in my body that I immediately wanted to run out of the door and go right back home, put on my pajamas and cuddle up with my kitties and avoid this whole thing. Maybe you relate to me and you have the networking blues too, but you should be networking, and networking would help your career advancement goals, and other people seem to do it and like it and get value from it. So what are you going to do? In this event that I mentioned, there were hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people attending, milling around. There was a whole bunch of white noise, the buzz of energy everywhere, music in the background. There's vendors lining the walls trying to get your attention, sort of yelling at you as you walk by them. There's this techno music blaring out a strong beat in the background. And as I waded through those crowds, trying to figure out where I belonged in all this, it finally popped back into my mind, oh, right. I'm supposed to be meeting new people and making connection. That's the whole real reason I'm here for this event. So even though everything inside of me wanted to hide out in the bathroom until it was all over, just to say that I had come, right? I forced myself to go over to a small group of people who looked welcoming enough and introduce myself. It went okay. It was a little awkward. I got through it. Maybe I got some value out of it. I did this a few times. And all of a sudden I realized I was exhausted. I was exhausted already after just a few conversations. Can you relate to this? There were talks to attend as well, so not just open networking at this particular event. And I was really thankful to sit in the back row of the auditorium and just listen to a speaker for a little while. And it helped me regain my energy while I just listened and sort of zoned everybody else out. After the talk was over, I knew there wasn't that much time left in the event, so I made a few more bold attempts to connect with people until I was really, truly toast. I knew I was toast because I couldn't think clearly anymore. It was like the words didn't come to me. My mind would float away. My body was just tired. I was overwhelmed. And finally, I let myself leave the event early, feeling partially accomplished that I went and did talk to some people, and partially felt like a failure, to be honest. As an empath and an introvert, which you might relate to, I've realized that I'm very sensitive to my environment. Plus, I'm very sensitive to the strain of extroverted situations. Do you relate to this? Now, there's an element to any networking opportunity that might bring up your social anxiety, but that's a really broad term, social anxiety. In my experience and talking with clients about this, usually what they're experiencing is overwhelm, too much stimulus all at once, hypersensitivity to their environment, as well as hypersensitivity to the reactions of others, which is a lot about wanting to please others, wanting to be accepted, wanting to belong. And along with that, there's a lot of self-criticism spinning around in our heads. In my head, my gosh, for sure. Criticizing myself for what I just said, for what I didn't say, for how I look, etc. And sometimes that criticism will be projected outwards. Let's not forget that you might not only be critical towards yourself, you might actually be critical towards other people too. This could be a protection mechanism. Judging the other people like, oh, they don't have anything to offer me. This isn't really worth my time or energy. I don't really like that person. That's a good way to get out of a conversation, right? That's a good way to get back into your pajamas with your kitties as quickly as possible. What these kind of events, whether they're in person or virtual, highlight is your introversion and your relationship to your introversion. Is your introversion working against you, or are you and your introversion working together as a team? These kind of events can also highlight perfectionism or the expectations that you have of yourself that perhaps you're not living up to according to you, create more strain and more pressure on your introverted nature. So let's talk about how you can find confidence, energy, and be more impactful with your speaking, with your communication when you're networking, and ultimately, get the value from networking. I want you to walk away from an event like the convention that I went to with connections that lead to sales or promotions or new jobs or friends. There's 3 things that I've learned over time are absolutely essential to make networking effective. Number 1, make sure to buffer any event with some nourishing alone time to prepare and then to recover. So you have some nourishing alone time before the event, you have some nourishing alone time after the event that helps you regain your energy. And this will support you to be able to be at your best for everything else that you have in your life as well. So there isn't this collapse afterwards, right? And then number 2, remember that as an introvert, you most likely prefer having meaningful one-on-one conversations. One-on-one communication is going to be more natural for you. It's going to come more naturally. It's probably going to be more comfortable and less triggering for your nervous system. So I recommend making your goal to connect with a certain number of people one-on-one in deeper conversations and exchange information. So pick a number, maybe it's 5 people. If you have an hour networking event, maybe your goal is I'm going to connect with 5 people one-on-one to exchange information, and let that be enough. That is your clear goal, and then all you have to do is commit to it. You don't have to talk to everybody. And 3, make sure to manage your physical symptoms of stress while they are happening. So that could look like taking some deep breaths to relax the tension in your shoulders. It could be noticing the brain fog as it comes up, the overwhelm, the exhaustion, and taking a moment to walk outside, get a cup of coffee, and come back to the event when you feel a little bit more energized. It could be sitting down instead of standing up at certain moments when you're communicating with people, because standing up actually takes more energy for introverts. And as soon as we sit down and we have that one-on-one connection, we feel more comfortable and safe. So perhaps sitting down could help you to manage your energy. Notice I'm talking about physical symptoms, somatic symptoms. This means that you're not getting caught up in the mental chatter and stories that your mind is telling about how you're not doing this and need to do more of that, what they think of you, anything. You're just paying attention to what's really actually happening in your body and responding to it, taking good care of yourself. Bonus tip that will really help with networking. So number 4, give yourself permission to leave early. You don't have to leave early, but if you have a clear goal, like for example, you want to talk to 5 people one-on-one and exchange information, once you've achieved that goal, if you are just exhausted and really want to go home, you've just hit your limit, give yourself permission to check out. Say your goodbyes, whatever you have to do, to be appropriate, and then check out. One of the worst things for everyone, but especially introverts, is pushing yourself beyond your limit. That's usually when those kind of awkward social interactions happen, or when you do that thing that you regret or you end up thinking about for the next few days. Get the nourishing alone time you need before the event to show up at your best. Accomplish your goal while managing your physical symptoms of stress, and then leave on a high note. I promise you, even as an introvert, even as somebody who experiences social anxiety, performance anxiety, you can even enjoy networking events and get value from them if you're able to do these few best practices. I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you as the most helpful, and when you try it, let me know how it goes. If you haven't already, head over to speaktoinspire.com. Make sure to watch the training there about how to get rid of speaking anxiety and get better at high-stakes communication. I'll teach you my whole streamlined system, just like I taught you a streamlined system today for networking. And then you'll have the opportunity to schedule a consultation with me, an Inspire session, and I recommend taking advantage of that if you're really committed to seeing a shift with your communication skills and the amount of anxiety you experience around communication. The world needs your voice. Go out and speak to inspire. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me. And I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you in the next episode.